Chapter 10. The Wormhole. The 10 astronauts stood on the side of the stage. Blue, yellow, green, red, orange, purple, indigo, white, grey, and black. They stood side by side with Kobe on the furthest end. He stood next to Tia, who kept brushing herself up against him or making suggestive pantomimes at him while no one else was looking, making Kobe blush and her giggle. Abe had told all the other colored participants that Tia was not to be harmed or mistreated, or they would be removed. She'd not get a warm welcome from anyone, most especially Ashley, who began shrieking for help. Tia did not seem to care, her black eyes only upon Kobe, who felt extremely uncomfortable. Abe led the 10 to the side of the stage where a band was finishing their set. The vantage point was incredible, as the musicians hammered out the final song with the last of their remaining energy. The crowd reacted to the last song and surged and swayed before the barrier, crowd surfers flying over the tops of heads and collected by muscled white heads set before the stage. With the last song completed, the musicians walked off the stage, high-fiving Abe, who waited along with the 10 in the wings. The white-haired crewmen descended upon the stage, removing the gear and setting up small clear boxes upon the stage. The boxes were made of glass, it seemed to Kobe, handled very delicately by the whiteheads. They were set across the expanse of the stage, 10 glass boxes all up, with room enough for a person to stand upright inside. With the gear removed and the boxes set up, Abe walked out onto the stage. The crowd erupted at his appearance. "Welcome," bellowed Abe, with a brilliant smile below his opaque visor. "Welcome to you all." The crowd did not lessen its noise to Abe's presence. It took a few minutes for rapturous cheering and applause and the noise to die down before Abe could finally speak. "Thank you, everyone. What a beautiful greeting you have given me. Thank you. I am honored to be here before you tonight, my fantasy friends. May I say you all look absolutely splendid. This is a truly special Prism Music Festival with the efforts you've all gone to." He paused and let the crowd cheer and applaud. "I can see a few dragons in the crowd. Just watch out for those brave knights, okay? If you steal a princess, don't say I didn't tell you so." He chuckled to himself and drew groans from the audience. "All right, enough of that. On with the show. Before we get to the glass objects behind me, who here has a mind link?" he asked the crowd, who cheered in affirmation. "I'm giving you a free update, something you've been asking for a long time." "Can you hear me now?" said Abe in Kobe's mind. Thousands of voices responded in Kobe's mind. Abe raised a hand asking for silence. "Welcome to the Prism Network. Here you'll be able to communicate with one another in groups of 2 or more. While previously MindLink only offered a single person connection, this new update will make it so you can talk to as many people with MindLinks as possible," he said within Kobe's mind. A mix of internal and external cheering was heard from the crowd as Abe resumed speaking out loud. "That's trick number 1. On to trick number 2 of my 3. You are all probably wondering why this location was selected, given the festival has been held in capital cities predominantly. Well, something happened here 21 years ago that you may not know about. Play the video, please," he said, and the lights lowered and the big screen monitors illuminated. "In the remote town of Jinder, a secret has been kept," said Abe's voice through the video monitors with an aerial view of Jinder. 21 years ago, a foreign object crashed here on this very site. He commented as pictures of people clearing trees along trenches that stretched across the ground were shown. The image changed to show people in demolition suits approaching a bizarre object sticking out of the ground, a craft made of clear glass in the shape of a prism. The video showed the craft completely see-through with something inside. What the operatives did not expect was what was within, said Abe, and the video showed a naked brown-haired boy, the size of a toddler, asleep in the craft. Try as they might, they could not retrieve the boy from within the craft. Images showed them hammering at the craft and using electric saws upon it, but each shattered or broke upon touching the spacecraft. The operatives finally resigned to contact the only person who knew what to do. A cheer went up as Abe entered the projected images, his face still obscured by the white visor upon his face. Abe circled the craft, examining the boy inside. It was here that the operatives and myself struck a bargain. I would release the boy, but they would leave him to grow up in Jinder, unaware of his origins. The video showed Abe opening the craft and lifting the small child out before handing him over to figures in black. Kobe felt the eyes of the other astronauts upon him. He turned and saw all of them, including Tia, were all staring at him curiously. For 21 years, the cosmocracy has kept this boy safe. There were boos from the crowd. Despite their reputation, it was an allegiance forged by necessity for what tonight was going to bring. The video stopped and returned to display Abe upon the stage, smiling broadly. My friends, I shared that story with you because tonight, for the first time, I would like to welcome the young boy from that spacecraft here on stage with me. Kobe, will you come and join me, please? There was a deafening roar of the crowd's excitement as Tia and the other astronauts shoved Kobe onto the main stage. His heart pounded in his chest as the gathered crowd erupted at his appearance. Kobe was dazzled by the bright lights, his glasses going foggy from the crisp night air. He managed to walk to where Abe stood and stared down at his feet, too scared to lift his eyes up. This, Abe said, putting his arms around him, is Kobe. Now, he may not seem like much, but he is the greatest single invention ever made, putting his arm around him, is Kobe. Now, he may not seem like much, but he is the single greatest invention ever made. What this young man possesses within him is the key to fighting back against the cosmocracy. I say this on behalf of everyone here. Thank you for coming here and being with us, Kobe. It is truly an honor to be beside you. Kobe managed a weak smile, not daring to lift his eyes up, despite the rapturous applause and cheering. Now you can tell Kobe would prefer to be anywhere else but here right now, so let's free him of his misery and let him go, shall we? Abe said with a laugh. He ushered Kobe off stage, giving him words of encouragement inside his mind of how well he did, and returned back to the stage. Now the final act, Abe said dramatically. As he said the words, the lights went down, and the glass boxes behind him were illuminated in the colors of the rainbow individually, as well as two black and one white. These are similar crafts to the ones you saw within the video. Each is capable of flight and space travel. I welcome the 7 colors of the rainbow to board their vessels. They'll be transported to my new game, the Prism Phase, a fully immersive game indistinguishable from reality. Each colored astronaut walked out on stage directed by the Whiteheads under the shadowed lights. These are our brave astronauts, chosen to complete a very important task inside the game. Each must retrieve an artifact matching the color of their suits. To you, my friends out there, he gestured to the audience, they will only be gone for a few moments, but for them, it will be much longer. Are they all inside? Asked Abe. Kobe watched as Solomon and Ruby were inside the clear glass boxes, their faces obscured by darkness. Let's count them down. 10, 9, began the chant from Abe, which the crowd continued until 2, 1, 0, and in a flash, 7 of the glass boxes disappeared with the astronauts inside them. Gasps of shock and awe rippled through the crowd as Abe soothed them by saying, "They're okay, my friends. Right now they're inside the game, headed for their destinations. Now, I'm going to bring out Kobe to join me again, as well as the other astronauts, please," asked Abe. The crowd emitted shocks and gasps and boos at Tia's appearance. "Now, my friends," said Abe, calming him, "this is not the blackhead you've been accustomed to. This has had its genetic programming changed. Tell me, Tia, what is your primary function? To protect Kobe, to love him, to serve him, to have him all the time, every which way," she confessed, making both Abe and Kobe blush. "And what was your normal programming before, Tia?" "To destroy, to sow discontent, to intimidate with fear, to kill you," she replied, staring straight at him. "And do you want to?" Abe asked the hushed audience. Kobe saw Tia falter, her metal face twisting as though wrestling with the question. "I serve a higher cause now. My purpose is to please Kobe," she said, drawing an exhalation of relief from the crowd, Kobe included. This, my friends, is the power of the singularity. One touch from Kobe, and he rewrote the entire operating system of this blackhead to serve him. Perhaps a little too well, he added with a laugh. "Kobe, you are tasked with seeking the lost edges inside the Prism Phase. I have sent the others before you to aid you in this quest. Tia and Ashley will accompany you as your guides and protectors, for she is programmed to do all that you command, and Ashley, because you could learn a thing or two from Kobe." "All and more," said Tia with a wink at Kobe, while Ashley swore under his breath. Please take your places aboard your crafts. It's time to play. Before Kobe knew it, he was embraced by Abe, who whispered to him, "Remember to believe in yourself, Kobe. Let it guide you to do the right thing. Your virtues outweigh your vices. I will aid you where I can from here. Good luck." "Thank you," said Kobe shakily. Abe let him go, and Kobe was ushered up the platform steps and stood before the glass craft. He was about to step inside when he felt a pinch on his rear end and turned to see it was Tia, drawing laughs and catcalls from the crowd. Kobe shooed her away as she hopped inside the craft, making kissing faces at him, while Ashley gave Kobe the middle finger from inside his glass box. Kobe stepped inside and the door to the glass box closed and sealed shut. The sound of the crowds was instantly muted. He could only hear his breath, but still see all the activity that was going on outside. He watched as the countdown began on the screens, each number making his heart rate beat faster until there was a feeling of weightlessness and he felt himself rising upwards. Kobe saw the number 0, and in a flash, he was no longer upon the stage. He was moving, rocketing out over the crowd and into the sky at speed that eclipsed any human mode of transportation. The festival grounds disappeared in the blink of an eye, and the surrounding Jinder, illuminated around it, shrank away from Kobe as he torpedoed upwards into the sky. Clouds flashed by him, faster than he was able to see them coming, as the world below him was reduced to a black splodge with pockets of light upon it. Kobe saw that the lights grew in several places and realized it was Australia itself. The light stretched out to the far edges of the island as Kobe drifted higher and soon was entering the whole new world altogether. Before him were stars, thousands of stars, all sparkling brilliantly as Kobe escaped the gravitational pull of Earth and rocketed through space towards an unknown destination. He felt the craft shudder against the vacuum of space, but Kobe was still able to breathe without a problem. The stars whirled by Kobe as he traveled out to space. He managed to see Earth over his shoulder, half bathed in light, the other in darkness, shrinking away. A glint of something caught Kobe's eye, and he saw Tia within her own spacecraft, only a few meters away, heading in the same direction. Kobe gazed ahead and saw the moon growing in size nearby, its pock-marked surface becoming clearer as it raced past it and out into the deeper space, until something brightly colored appeared in the distance before him. It appeared like a star pinwheel, rapidly growing in size till it was before them. A beep sounded within Kobe's spacecraft, and the glass screen where he viewed suddenly became illuminated with writing. "Warning! Wyrmhole imminent," it read upon the glass. "Please close your eyes to avoid distress and/or until turbulence has ceased," it printed. Kobe breathed in deep as the spacecraft plunged into the wormhole. Colors stretched out along the tunnel walls like a kaleidoscope. It morphed and changed as Kobe flew through the cosmic well, each color dancing with the other as the forces of the well began to gently shake the spacecraft. As Kobe flew further on, the turbulence grew stronger and the colors more hypnotic, jumping and weaving across the tunnel as though it were alive. Kobe thought he saw flashes of images within the colors, men and monsters crashing like waves that rolled into strange structures, only to be washed away by another color to replace it. It was growing more and more vibrant until Kobe could no longer keep his eyes open. As he did, the colors suddenly stopped. Tentatively opening them, he saw a single white dot in the furthest point of the tunnel. As Kobe flew towards it, it began to spiral along the edges. Soon Kobe passed through the spirals of white, as though he was traveling through a hypnotist wheel. The lines were spread out at first, but grew in number as Kobe flew on, the turbulence beginning again. The brightness of the white streaks turned neon, and Kobe found himself traveling through a strobe light. He felt the turbulence increase even more dramatically as the flashes of white passed over him, faster and faster. It was then that Kobe saw a shape appear in the furthest point of the tunnel. Small at first, it danced and weaved through the inside of the tunnel. Kobe squinted to see, but it was obscured by the strobe light. It seemed almost snake-like from its appearance and movements, yet there was something jutting out from on the surface of its body on all sides, something that flapped. Wings. 4 wings on either side of its increasing size beat themselves towards Kobe. The strobe light at the furthest edge of the tunnel began to darken as the creature's size engulfed the entire tunnel. Kobe watched through strobe light as the thing that eclipsed the whole had scales and horns. It was then that 8 terrible eyes opened towards Kobe, grey, with slitted black pupils that seared into him with terrible hatred. Kobe screamed as the gigantic maw opened beneath the snout, its endless rows of glistening metal fangs, drooping with black saliva, opened to swallow him whole. Beep, beep. Kobe's attention was pulled away. Warning, apparition, it read, but Kobe, panic state, could only see the tremendous beast that was about to eat him. He saw the monster in full, its colossal body stretching on while 8 wings beat towards Kobe's demise. He was going to die today after all. Kobe's craft flew into the beast's waiting mouth, turbulence shaking so much his vision began to blur as the metal teeth descended and Kobe braced himself for the end. Darkness closed all around him, and Kobe disappeared from sight. There was a strange calm. It felt nice. The shaking of the turbulence had ceased. It was peaceful. Kobe thought this was how it would feel to die when he jumped off the Jinder Bridge. Though he'd not expected to feel like he was holding his breath. It didn't feel nice suddenly. It felt like he was running out of air. Kobe, he heard someone say. Kobe, it repeated. The life began to leave his body. He felt like he was drowning, his body thrashing around, trying to breach the surface. Open your eyes, said someone familiar. We're not dead. Kobe's eyes opened and he gasped for breath inside the glass craft. What do you think you're doing holding your breath like that? Scolded Tia inside his mind. Kobe regained his breath and looked to see Tia sailing nearby, illuminated by a sun. How? Said Kobe internally, struggling for breath. Mind link, said Tia. I tried to talk to you in the wormhole, but the interference was too strong. Hell of a trip, huh? She said with a forced laugh. I'll say. What was that thing? Said Kobe, still a bit shaken. The spider dragon? Said Tia. Oh, that's just an old myth the cosmos kicked around. Supposed to be a creator or destroyer or something or other. Was pretty cool though, huh? Wonder what it means though. Those stories are from before the cosmos was around. Maybe that's where they got it? She puzzled and muddled to herself as Kobe shook off the encounter. His heart rate slowed and the sweat on his skin dried and began to stick to his clothes. The glass spacecraft floated through the starry sea towards a blue dot in the distance. Hey, is that? Kobe began to say when the screen on his craft illuminated and read, Gaia, 148 million kilometers from the sun. Another Goldilocks, muttered Tia. The blue dot grew in size as they approached, the large continent bathed in light appearing on the surface. As they moved closer, Kobe saw the hues upon the continent's surface were colored differently. In the west it was yellow, in the south it was red, in the north it was green, and the east it was blue, to match the surrounding sea. The whole continent appeared to Kobe like a rough diamond. Between each of the major compass points were secondary colors of orange and purple. There is a spot for each astronaut, but where do we go? Asked Tia. Kobe gazed at the northernmost point of the continent and saw white mountains protruding upwards. I'm guessing I'm going there, said Kobe, directing her attention to it. That'll mean I'm going down there with Wonder Boy, advised Tia, drawing his attention to the further southern point where crags and holes appeared in black rock. Kobe turned around and saw Ashley inside a craft, appearing unmoving. He passed out, said Tia, though his shrieking was pretty funny. Kobe laughed as they watched the blue planet balloon in size before them. Outlines of cities, towns, and villages appeared visible as they drew closer. Kobe, are you seeing this? Said Tia, who was pointing to the southern part of the continent. Check out the size of that city. The metropolis sprawl of the Red City almost eclipsed the entire lower half of the continent. It only stopped by the orange desert on the left-hand side and a purple swamp to its right. What's that above it? Said Kobe. At the centermost point of the continent was a grey moving cloud, almost like that of a storm, set directly in its center. Kobe could see there was an eye in the middle of the storm and something within it, but he could not tell what it was. Seems nasty, whatever it is, said Tia. I like the trees up north. They're pretty. Kobe saw the lush expanse of forest that countered the red city sprawl. As Kobe gazed further north, he saw the green lessened and lightened to the white mountain range. I think I can see the beach on both coasts, said Tia. Kobe saw on the east coast there was a half-moon shape that had been cut out of the continent along with a long unbroken beach, while on the west there were jagged cuts and small beach alcoves interrupted by rocks. His eyes moved south to the dark canyon at the tip. It seemed to ooze and reflect in the sun, as though it were alive. "That black area doesn't look very friendly," said Kobe. "Black isn't bad once you get used to it," chided Tia. "I'll let you have another touch once we land," she said with a flirtatious giggle. "Tia, we need to focus on the edges." "You going to spank me if I don't?" she countered. "I know, I just mean you'll spank me if I focus? It's wait," said Kobe, lost by how fast she replied. "Spanking regardless, you got it. Soon as these doors open up, I'll be over your knee in a flash," she said gleefully. Kobe sighed and listened to the other things Tia wanted to do after the spanking, his lower torso captivated by some of the suggestions, while he watched the continent grow. Kobe took a moment to remember what Abe had said on the stage. "This is my home," he said to himself, trying to make himself believe it. All the years of not belonging, not having any friends and feeling different. It seemed to make sense, though it seemed almost unreal, like there was much more to the story than that. He almost didn't believe it. He almost didn't believe it, as though it was a trick being played on him. The glass went scarlet red as the gravitational pull of the planet caught Kobe's attention, and the craft went down. The appearance was startling as the hued colors of the planet grew more vibrant, revealing other shades and permutations within the respective locations. They entered above the crescent moon-shaped beach that stretched along the expanse of the east coast. The seas sparkled with varying hues as the shoreline rushed to meet them. Kobe could not feel the craft slowing, but he could see it, as both he and Tia drifted down to touch upon the blue sandy shores of Gaia. Ashley nowhere to be seen. "I thought we were going to the black and white areas," said Tia. "I guess we were meant to come here first," said Kobe, unsure. "Well, it's a bit strange to send us here. I guess Abe knows what he's doing." "Did you see the blue person who was being sent here?" she asked. "No, I didn't actually see them," admitted Kobe. "How do we get out of these things?" said Tia. "I need a good spanking after my long flight." She wiggled herself at him through the glass. As Kobe turned away embarrassed, he heard a surprised shout. He turned back to see Tia rising back up into the air. "What's this thing doing?" she exclaimed as the craft rose up and away from him. The craft began to fly away from where Kobe stood upon the beach. "Kobe!" yelled Tia as the craft took her away to the northerly direction. "I'll see you," she began to say, but cut to static as she disappeared into the distance. Kobe watched the craft go, alarmed that it had taken her away so quickly, and somewhat concerned the same would happen to him. Though he was saddened to see her go, it did mean he didn't have to spank her. Despite her overt sexual advances, Kobe liked her and didn't want to see her go. The sounds of decompressing air caught Kobe by surprise as the glass door opened, wafting in a salty sea breeze and air into his lungs. Kobe thought nothing of the oxygen that existed on Gaia as it did on Earth, nor the same gravitational pull as he hopped down from the elevated platform and down onto the blue sandy shore. It did not immediately register with Kobe that everything was blue. The grains of sand, the pebbles, the rocky terrain that stretched out infinitely from where the beach ended. He found himself a single white object surrounded entirely by blue, and registered he was not matching the environment around him. Without any idea of where to go or what to do, he tried the spacecraft, where the projected displays had been. After tapping and hitting the door in several places, it finally illuminated, showing 10 dots upon the map of Gaia. The dots blinked in different colors and shades. Kobe found himself on the east coast with a white light. He found Tia at the northernmost point, within the White Mountains, while Ashley was in the middle. Solomon was directly opposite Kobe upon the west coast, while Ruby was red in the south. Orange was southeast, and indigo and violet were in the southwest. Green was just below where Tia was, and finally a small blue blinking light was at the very bottom in the canyons. "I guess they mixed up where Tia, the blue person, and I were supposed to go," he thought to himself. After trying to get the display to change to something else unsuccessfully, he decided to walk along the beach. The blue sand was soft underfoot as he made his way across the abandoned paradise as the sun beat down and made him sweat within his spacesuit. After not walking very far, Kobe spied a tower rising up upon the beach. Its supports were made of blue shiny metal, while on the top it appeared to be a giant shell that stood upright, its surface reflecting magnificently in the sun. As Kobe approached, he caught signs of movement underneath the tower. What Kobe saw, he could not quite believe. There, at the base of the tower, stood a crab the size of a man. Kobe saw that it had two long legs, like that of a man. Its upper torso was that of a crab, with a large blue shell and pinchers instead of arms and hands. Resting atop its shell was a head of a man with blue hair and blue eyes. He scuttled across the sand as a crab would, unaware that Kobe stood only a short distance away. He seemed to be patrolling the perimeter of the tower, holding a long trident in a small pincer. Oblivious to Kobe's existence, he patrolled on, scuttling to and fro. Kobe sensed it would only be a matter of time till he turned around and saw him. What would he do if he saw me? Thought Kobe in a panic. Before Kobe could turn and run, the crabman turned and beheld Kobe standing on the beach. The crabman's round face regarded Kobe with a bemused expression. He had a pair of brilliant blue eyes and viewed Kobe somewhat fearfully. A timid voice came from the crabman. "You there!" he squeaked. "White! What business do you have here?" Kobe saw the trident in his pincer was shaking. "What did you call me?" asked Kobe, stepping forward. "Don't come any closer!" quailed the crabman, fumbling with the trident and scuttling backwards. "You hear me? I'll—" He muttered something unintelligible. "He's scared of me?" thought Kobe. "I mean you no harm," said Kobe. "I don't know where I am, and my ship has just taken me here." The crabman's eyes narrowed. "I know your sorcery, White. You would have me walk into the maelstrom and join the grey hordes. Stay back, I said," he quivered. "What's all this noise?" came a female voice from inside the shell. Kobe gazed up to see a fish's head appear out of the opening. It had long blue hair attached to its scaly skin, and blue eyes either side of the head. "Ah!" she exclaimed. "White!" and leapt from the tower down onto the ground. Her body from the neck down was completely human. She turned her head to see Kobe, and she drew her trident up towards him. "Back away, White," she said threateningly. "Your kind is not welcome here. Please, I'm not what you think I am. My name is Kobe. I'm from Earth. Abe sent me here in a spaceship and—" He stopped as the fish lady stopped her advance. "What is that upon your hand?" she said inquiringly. "Oh, this?" said Kobe, showing the red ring. "This is from Abe. Why is your hair brown?" she interrupted. "And your eyes?" "Well, I was born with them," began Kobe. "No one has all three primary colors within from birth. Only the singularity has three naturally, and that is an old tale told to children. Now who are you, White, and how do you have the edge of Imperial upon your finger?" She raised the trident towards him, making Kobe retreat. "I am the singularity," said Kobe in a last-ditch effort. The fish lady froze, her trident lowering. She gazed back to the crabman, who stood quivering at the base of the tower. "Contact the marina. I want a sub here as soon as possible. Tell them we have the singularity with the Imperial edge." The crabman nodded furiously and hopped up the ladder and into the shell. "If you can prove who you say you are," she said firmly, "then the great sunken city of Lian Saroon will welcome you. If you cannot," she stressed, "then you shall be eaten alive just like every other impostor who claims to be the singularity. I would think quickly if you'd like to change who you are pretending to be White," she said with a deadly serious tone. "It may cost you your life."